We'll go ahead and call the Monday, September 8th Commission meeting to order. If you would, please stand for the invocation and pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening. We ask that you give us wisdom to make the best decisions for the city of Leesburg. In your precious name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Proclamations, we have none. Presentations, we have their certificates of recognition to the members of the New Age Runners. I would like to, if they would like to go ahead and come in, we can have them come in while I read this, and then I'll give them their certificates. Are the New Age Runners out there? Hello? They're coming? Okay. While they're coming, I'll read this into the record. The New Age Runners were founded in 2024 by Alonte Richardson. The organization is dedicated to inspiring and developing young athletes through track and field while building discipline, confidence, and a lifelong love of fitness. Alonte grew up in Leesburg, ran track at Leesburg High School, and went to compete at Bethune-Cookman University. Today, he uses his passion and experience to mentor and train the next generation of athletes. The team currently has 15 members, ages 5 to 14, and they train at Leesburg High School in Ski Beach. They are coached by Alonte Richardson, Doug Orr, and Sean Robertson. In June, the team competed at the AAU Track and Field Region 9 qualifier in Winter Garden. At that meet, 6 athletes qualified for the AAU Junior Olympic Games that were held in August in Houston, Texas. Those athletes are David Dawson, 5th place, 1,500-meter run. Maddie Orr, 4th place, 400-meter, and 4th place, 200-meter. Khalib Kaiser, 4th place, 200-meter. Janla Davis, 2nd place, shot put. Lyric Robertson, 2nd place, turbo javelin. And Reagan Bullard, 2nd place, long jump. If I could get those young individuals, I have some certificates for you, and then we can get a group photo with you guys. David Dawson. Here you go. Come on here. Hold that. Maddie. Put this one down. Get in real close. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put you down. Next, we'll move to the Employee Service Award recognitions. Ms. Melissa, our HR Director.
Great. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. It's always a pleasure to have being here with you all to recognize these milestones, along with family and friends joining us today. So we'll get started with recognizing our first 5-year award. It'll be for Ms. Alyssa Isaacson. She started in customer service, and she recently moved to the building department. She serves as a permit specialist 1. So congratulations. Congrats. Next, we're moving on to our 10-year awards. We'd like to recognize our risk manager, Ms. Lisa Earl. She started at the library over 10 years ago and moved on to finance, and now she serves as our risk manager. Next, we'd like to recognize Kimberly Miller Bryant. Hey, Kimberly. She started as a dispatcher 1 and recently has promoted to a lead position as dispatcher 3 in the police department. Congratulations. Congratulations, Kimberly. Next, we'd like to recognize a warm and inviting face that we see day in and day out sitting at the front desk at City Hall, Ms. Deborah Vines, 10 years as our customer service specialist. Congratulations. Next, we're moving on to 25 years of service. Our first 25 year is our gas director, Corey Goffert. He started his career in the gas department, and here he is 25 years later. Congratulations. Look that way, there you go. Congrats, Corey. Next 25-year award is for our IT network manager, Mr. David Wilson, who also started his career with the city in IT and recently just became our IT network manager. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Melissa. Thank you to all of our city staff. They make us look good, and they are the backbone of what this city is. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move to public comments. This section is reserved for members of the public to bring up matters of concern or opportunities of praise. Please note that issues raised during this time will not be discussed in detail during the current meeting. They will either be referred to the appropriate staff or scheduled for consideration at a future city commission meeting. Each speaker is allocated 3 minutes to provide their comments. Kindly adhere to this time limit to ensure equal opportunity for all participants and to support the efficient conduct of the meeting. Thank you. Are there any public comments for anything that's not on the agenda tonight? Seeing none, we'll close public comments and we'll move to the consent agenda. Routine items are placed on the consent agenda to expedite the meeting. If commissioner or staff wish to discuss any item, the procedure is as follows. 1, pull the items from the consent agenda. 2, vote on the remaining items with 1 roll call vote. 3, discuss each item pulled and vote by roll call. Are there any items the commission would like to pull? I personally would like to pull 5B9. Any other items? Okay, can I?
Excuse me. That's the one.
That's the one, okay. No other items being pulled. Can I get a motion to approve the remaining consent agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any public comments on those items? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Commissioner Burry,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Berry,
Yes.
Mayor Reesman.
Yes. Would someone please introduce 5B9?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only, please.
Thank you.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a profession services real estate broker services agreement with the 3 top-ranked firms, the Urban Group, NAI RealVest, and Realty Capital Advisors, and providing an effective date.
Move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion. I would pull this item, and I know the other people wanted to pull it too. So my couple concerns are, while I respect the process, I have a little bit of an issue that the 3 firms that were the top are nowhere near us. One's in Fort Lauderdale and 2 are in Orlando. And I think I think having a local firm do it is the best interest of the city. They know our area. They know the people that want to rent in our area. So those are my 2 biggest things. While I respect the process, I wouldn't support this agenda item tonight. So that's all I had.
My question was, Who was the evaluation committee? I was aware.
Who was it from?
Oh.
Dan,
Candy Miller from, or Candy Miller. She might be, that's her work name.
Okay.
Candy Harper, Tracy Dean, and
That was it.
who was, I didn't kiss,
It was those three.
and Dan the third.
Okay. And then my next question is, it would be all the surplus lots of the city of Leesburg, or
It would
just-
be anytime we need a real estate professional, we would go to that list.
and that list only? No one else could come through?
Correct.
And my question would be, next question is, that would be to control the so many people coming in and out, or the expertise in what you're lining up to do the role?
The request for the proposal was from a commissioner, so I saw to it that we got that executed.
Okay. So how does this work with the surplus lots and that we have available?
If you needed a real estate professional
That's who?
to sell or buy,
Mhm.
then you would need to use the ones that you would appoint from this list. You don't necessarily need a real estate professional for the surplus inventory.
Okay. The
depending
reason
on
I'm
how you-
asking because
Depending
it-
on how you dispose it.
That's what I'm
If you
asking.
dispose it with the services of a real estate agent, then yeah, you would need to use this process. If you don't adopt this resolution, my assumption would be we go back to the current method and we pick the real estate professional that we think will best serve us for that purpose.
And the current method was, how is it being done now? Just anyone would come up with the highest bid, or the?
No, we didn't have a current method. We've typically used Grizzard Realty because of their expertise in commercial real estate in and around these parts. Most of the transactions we do, we don't use a real estate agent. We have from time to time. So let me give you some clear examples. When have we not used a real estate agent? Pretty much on everything. And the biggest thing that we did, for example, would be the Leesburg sale back in, the Villages sale back in 17 when we sold the Villages. At that time, it was 1,500 acres. We did not use a real estate professional on that. We got appraisals. And most of the time, we really don't need a real estate professional because from our position, we're typically selling, not often, but we're typically buying when we would potentially need. And when we buy, we have very clear needs. You know, we have an established budget. We know what parcel we want, so we don't need to scour the market. And then when it comes to the contractual portions, we have our attorneys, and typically the attorneys are pretty well versed in real estate law. So most of the time, we really haven't needed that. So the Villages sale is a good example. The surplus lot sales are good examples. From time to time, we have used the real estate services, and where we have used real estate services, we've used Grizzard. And we've used the commercial side, and we've used it for sale of parcels. Probably the most recently was, don't hold me to it, the 7 to 9 plus or minus acres of the airport property that we sold to Blue Rock. We did use a real estate agent there. From time to time, the airport will use an agent when we're trying to market property for rental. So, you know, I'm not going to say we never, but typically when it does come to these, we don't. And typically when we have, we've used Grizzard because of their expertise in the area. That's been the process.
Is there a certain acreage that would be looked at? I mean, is it like a minimum or maximum to
Nope.
say the high, so they can sell from anything to 2 acres, 1 acre to 200 acres?
We you know, size doesn't really matter in terms of when we would or wouldn't need a professional. It really comes down to probably more the sales, because the sales side is when we need to tap into those agents' expertise in the field. And that's kind of the Grizzard side, you know. The Grizzard side knows us extremely well, and they know the commercial market extremely well. And so I think you got a pretty good deal, a little bit better than market. And the work that agent did showed you multiple offer situations. So I don't think it's you know, if we want to move forward with the policy, that's fine. We recommended for it. If you want to move away from the policy, that's fine too. And we'll continue SOP.
Is this
Unless
in-
directed otherwise by the majority of the commission.
Is it a contractual time frame or indefinite or just whatever? Because I couldn't
think
tell
we
here.
did we put
It was a
12 months
time,
in there?
yeah. it wasn't
Rob,
a-
do you remember what the term of that was for?
It's typically 3 years.
So 36 months, yeah.
And then when it said as needed, I just wasn't
As
clear, meaning,
Yeah, you
As
know,
you
I
said.
wouldn't I would not recommend to go outside as needed. I mean, it's as needed.
Yeah, and the airport parcel was a little bit unique as well, because there's some FAA regulations, and it's a little bit trickier, I think, probably to find a buyer under that situation than a lot of other parcels that the city deals with. So that one, you know, again, was one example. It was a little bit tricky. We had to develop some covenants to put some restrictions on the property, and there were a lot of things you couldn't do on that land. So I think that one, you know, is probably a good example of where you would typically use a realtor when you've got a challenging parcel with some heavy restrictions and government regulations on it.
I am a commercial realtor in my day job. I do sales and leasing. I work for Grizzard, but I have no involvement in any of the city business due to being on the city commission. But I agree with Reisman's comments. There is value in local, you know. Help me out. I think Tetro got us more than list price on the airport, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's about 200 grand.
Okay, so 200,000 above list price. It's hard to criticize him on that one. But I don't think we're going to use them that much, you know. But I would prefer to just keep it local. And I don't see us needing any help on the lots. I've been on the commission 6.5 years. I've never seen us use a realtor on the lots you're referring to in the CRA.
I'm talking in general, not
Okay,
just in
okay, I
District
thought you were
1.
referring to
I'm
the
just
lots.
talking
Yeah.
in Leesburg lots, that's how
Okay.
it's referred to.
Okay,
I'm open, I mean, I don't have any, my question is, I don't have any grief or questions of the decisions that was made. I was just trying to understand how it was determined, and if it is for 3 years, then do we go back again and open again, or do we extend them? I mean,
Renewal or cancel, I think
okay.
that's how the contract's
That's
written.
what I thought, okay.
so that, you know, those are my comments. I'll just say in summary, I think there's value using local people.
How many times have we used realtor services? You know, since I've been on the commission, I can only think of the airport.
A guess in my 12 years,
I
twice,
can
maybe
think of one
3.
other time when we bought that site for the electric company for
Yes,
a
yes.
substation. Those
That-
are only,
yes.
I've been on the commission 6.5
No.
years. Those are the only two I can think of.
Actually, I don't think I think that was a buyer's broker. I don't think we used it in that case.
So I know of one, the airport. Yeah. And that, for the audience benefit, that was a $2.5 million property or plus.
Yeah.
And it was a
Actually,
complex
I
property.
think it was $500,000. I think we bought that property for $500,000.
Okay,
I think it was 2 acres for $500,000.
for the substation.
Yeah, but don't quote me.
Look, I mean, I got a couple things. I mean, I understand the local vendor thing, but you've got all kind of other vendors on here tonight that none of them are local. We put things out for bid to give us the best bang for our buck. That's why we put things out for bid. I trust staff's recommendation that these are the top 3 firms that actually bid this thing. I didn't even see Grizzard even on the list. So I think, you know, if we use vendors from all over the state. Like I said, there's probably 2 or 3 tonight on engineering firms that are not local, but they gave us the best options for what we were looking for. So I think we trust the bid process, we trust our staff, and we go along with their recommendation on this. It's not just, we'll just pick up the phone and call whoever on this particular one and take a guess that they're gonna give us the best deal for what we want them to do. I mean, these people have bid it, they've went through the process, staff has recommended them, and I think we go with them. I mean, we do with any other projects, you're gonna do it with 3 other ones. In fact, I think you already did them. I believe there was other ones on the consent agenda tonight. You just approved engineering firms that weren't local. So I don't know why this one was pulled out of the bunch of firms we were in contract with, just because it's real estate.
Well, my concern, again, I'll state, I'm open to opening opportunities for others to come in. I like the variety and what others might be able to expose. I trust the staff. I'm not questioning them. I just wanted to understand the process. I wasn't
and
aware.
Like I said, staff
And,
recommended 3. We've optioned a 3. I think, you know, like I said, you've already approved other engineering firms tonight already in the consent that weren't local. So I don't think you can say, well, we're not going with any of these 3 because they're not local. You just approved a handful
not
of
stating
of
local.
engineering. I understand that. I'm just making a point of what some of the comments I've heard, not necessarily you.
I just want to make sure that we keep all options open. And like I said, I do trust the staff, and I know that their recommendations would be in our best interest of the city. But I also want to make sure that we're not holding to just this one area and not, you know, being open. But I'm good with my answers. Thank you for clarification.
Any other commission comments?
My only comment is it just seems, we've used in my 5 years one time. And this seems like we're making rules about who can do this for us for something we've done once. And I would just prefer it to be a local thing.
It's just a policy that's being put in place if we need them, the policy's in place and who has.
Yeah, but they're from Fort Lauderdale and Orlando.
Well, you just approved engineering firms from
Well,
all over the state too.
engineering and evaluating a piece of property across the street is 2 different things.
I don't see it that
engineering
way.
is engineering.
I mean, you think you're gonna get better engineering locally here than somewhere from out of the county? I mean, these are all professionals, Jimmy. I mean, they're not fly-by-night companies. I mean, you need a policy in place on who we're gonna use and not just flipping the coin or who we're calling today. I mean, apparently these firms met the criteria the staff put together, and these are the top 3 firms that bid it.
Any other commission comments? All right, any public comments on this item? Seeing none, we'll close public comments. If there's no further commission comments, we'll go to roll call on 5B9.
Commissioner Burry?
No.
Commissioner Peterson?
No.
Commissioner Berry?
No.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Mayor Eastman?
No.
Macy.
Moving to 6 public hearings, non-routine items. During public hearings and non-routine items, the commission will request that those in attendance respect the process and maintain order. As such, in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, please refrain from speaking out, cheering, or applauding during these proceedings. Your cooperation helps ensure a fair and respectful hearing, and I would ask that our attorney would swear in anyone who would be speaking this evening.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If anyone here is present tonight to speak on item 6B3, which is the SPUD Royal Highlands rezoning, if you would please stand and raise your right hand so you can be sworn in. We'll get you all.
If you guys would remain quiet so the city attorney can talk. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do you all swear or affirm that all testimony you give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you all. All right, Mr. Mayor, all set.
Would someone please introduce 6A1?
Has to be read by title only, please.
Can the audience remain quiet, please? Thank you.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, amending Chapter 17, Pensions and Retirement, Article 4, Police Officers Retirement Fund of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Leesburg by amending Section 6, Benefit Amounts and Eligibility, and Section 28, Deferred Retirement Option Plan, providing for codification, providing for severability of provisions, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Seeing none. Any public comments on this item? Seeing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Mayor Eastman?
Yes. Would someone please introduce 6A2?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Thank you.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, amending Chapter 17, Pensions and Retirement, Article 3, Municipal Firefighters Pension of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Leesburg by amending Section 1.1 Definitions, Section 1.3 Participants Contribution Account, Section 2.2 Normal Retirement and Retirement Income, providing for inclusion in the City Code's ordinances, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing for an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion?
I just want the audience to know we had 2 workshops on this and a first reading, was correct?
Probably more than that.
Okay, I mean, we're just going through it fast. I
The
want
whole
them to know
budget
that we
process
spent
and
some time
CBA
on this, is my
discussion.
point.
Yeah, so, and just for the audience, these are both ordinances, obviously amending the pension funds for negotiated benefits that we did during the collective bargaining process and the budget process. So the first one that you just passed was for some police officer modifications, and this one is for firefighter modifications.
Yeah, they were sailing right through. I wanted the audience to know this is the fourth time we have looked at this.
Thank you. Any other commission comments? Any public comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Reesman?
Yes. Moving along to first reading of ordinances, would someone please introduce 6B 1, 2, and 3 to be read by title only?
I'll introduce that to be read by title only.
Thank you.
6B1, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, annexing certain real property consisting of approximately 7.53 plus minus acres, being generally located west of U.S. Highway 27 and south of Florida Turnpike, lying in Section 18, Township 21 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida. Provided that said property so annexed shall be liable for its proportionate share of the existing and future indebtedness of said city. Providing that such annexed property shall be subject to all laws and ordinances of said city, as if all such territory had been a part of the City of Leesburg at the time of passage and approval of said laws and ordinances. Provided that such annexed territory shall be placed in City Commission District 3 and providing an effective date. 6B2, an ordinance amending the future land use map of the comprehensive plan of the City of Leesburg, changing the future land use map designation of certain property containing 7.53 plus minus acres from Lake County urban low density to City of Leesburg low density residential for property generally located west of U.S. Highway 27 and south of Florida Turnpike, lying in Section 18, Township 21 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date. 6B3, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, changing the zoning on approximately 7.53 plus minus acres from Lake County PUD Planned Unit Development to City of Leesburg SPUD Small Planned Unit Development to allow for a townhome community for property generally located west of U.S. Highway 27 and south of the Florida Turnpike, lying in Section 18, Township 21 South, Range 25 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Andy. These are first readings. Mr. Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dan Miller, Planning and Zoning. This is the Royal Highlands Annexation Small Scale Comp Plan and Small PUD project. It's 7.53 plus or minus undeveloped acres. The general location, of course, is there on the west side of U.S. Highway 27. It's south of Royal Highlands Avenue and the Florida Turnpike. The request is for the future development of 48 townhome units, single-family residential attached, as it's noted, and the associated amenities. Again, at 7.5 acres, the comp plan is requesting the future land use amendment from Lake County urban low density to City of Leesburg low density. And the zoning is currently PUD in Lake County, and they are requesting a zoning of small PUD in the City of Leesburg. Under the proposed PUD requirements, the proposal will consist of, again, the 48 single-family attached townhome units. And just for clarification, a townhome is where you purchase the constructed unit and the land beneath the unit. So they're townhomes, they're not condominiums or apartments. There are no commercial uses permitted under this proposal, and I have some information about that I'd like to talk about in a moment. The lots for these townhouses would be the standard 20-foot width, minimum living area 1,100 square feet, 2 floors as the maximum height, minimum 2 off-street parking spaces for each unit. The project proposal also includes design and architectural standards as shown in the PUD wording and exhibits, along with a minimum of 35% of the property must be an open space. We'll have dark sky lighting requirements in effect. There's trees required between each driveway, and a 25-foot landscape buffer is required except where it's not needed due to existing wetland areas. In this area, there would be no St. Augustine grass permitted. The city does permit Bermuda and Bahia because of the water use. There's also additional parking provided on the site plan that was proposed within the development. On-site access, the access shown on the site plan, because US 27 is under FDOT authority, the developer will be required to provide any and all expansions or upgrades to the entryways and roadways as requested by FDOT. There's also a right-in, right-out access point provided on the plan for a second access, which would allow the regular traffic in and allow an emergency access point for police, fire, and ambulance as well. Signage would be based on the standard city code if any was needed. And I'd like to point out there's no interconnectivity for this property with the Royal Highlands property back to the west. The recreation improvements would be consist of 18,000 square feet of items such as pavilion dog park, outdoor cooking facilities, child's tot lot, and other similar uses. Of course, all the utilities have to be on City of Leesburg systems for water and wastewater. And our utility service providers in the city have indicated through the review process that there is capacity to serve this development. There is a phasing clause, as you're familiar with, that would require the development to move forward within 48 months, or it would default back to the RE1 zoning standards, which is 1 acre per unit. There's some additional information that I wanted to share with you tonight about this particular project. As you can see, we received a significant amount of public response to the project. A brief summary, I want to get their issues out on the record for you. A brief summary of those responses includes concerns about traffic, project density, property values, the security issues of living there, compatibility with neighborhood single-family homes, wildlife and environmental concerns, crime, inconsistency with the city's comp plan, concerns regarding infrastructure capacity for water and wastewater, stormwater runoff, and many others. This is just a summary. Again, we collected as many of those comments as we could and put them in your packet. I tried to get all of them. A moment ago, mentioned that we'd come back to the commercial. We wanted to point out that the Royal Highlands development itself, the entire development, here, it consists of property that is covered. The current ordinance covers this property and this property in Lake County. So it covers a mixed-use development, allows 1,500 single-family units. Those units are all built out at this time. The Royal Highlands type development is similar to and consistent with what we have approved up and down US 27. The concern under Lake County Ordinance 2005-45, which is what this property is under at this moment, it will allow commercial development of 49,500 square feet. That includes, and the list is extensive, but offices, ice cream shops, drugstores, sit-down restaurants up to 5,000 feet, florists, bakeries, gift cards, dry cleaners, coffee shops, delicatessens, computer stores, banks, beauty salon, clothing store, sports bar, takeout, delivery, food service, video rentals. It's extensive on the commercial side. So I wanted to ask everyone to pay particular attention to the following comments. What this case brings to light is the fact that the property is zoned for commercial uses in Lake County as we sit right now. The proposal for annexation, zoning, and comp plan would change what would be permitted and would remove that ability to have commercial uses and go to strictly residential uses. So if the uses are changed from just under 50,000 square feet of commercial uses to 48 townhomes, that would significantly lower the potential amount of traffic coming in and out of this area. The issue, as staff sees it, is that over time, property becomes more and more valuable for development. As Orlando and the surrounding counties and cities expand, development of properties such as this, prime properties, does occur. We do understand it's not easy decisions, and that neighbors in any given case, including this one, may or may not be happy about those proposals. But the larger concern that staff has is, and want to get on the record and make sure everyone is aware, that there are really only two options here. One, if it stays in the county, it could easily go to 50,000 square feet of commercial. If it comes into the city, it will have 48 townhomes, as long as the commission is happy with the PUD. So technically, it would have a lower impact coming in to the city in staff's view. But that is a question that we place before you tonight. Mr. Tom Daly and Mr. Bill Mackey of the Daly Design Group is here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan,
Before
how you
we
doing?
get to the developer, would any of the commissioners like to have anything to say?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
All right, Dan, you said if it stayed in the county, it could develop up to 50,000.
Just under 50, yes, sir.
But if it stays in the county, could they really develop it for 50,000 without water and wastewater?
They would have to request the water and wastewater, and the nearest provider is the city of Leesburg.
Okay, so they could request our utilities and stay in the county?
Yes, sir,
I
potentially.
thought we had some type of requirement that if we supplied utilities, they had to annex.
Generally, that is the case.
Let me jump in on that because that used to be the case. So, and it used to be the case up into the ISBA. And so in the past, what would occur was, and the classic example is probably out 44, we did this more often. So we would annex, there was one that's on the tip of my tongue, Iron Gate or Stone Gate. Stone Gate's a good example of that. So we did those deals in the pre-ISBA deals where we would provide you water and sewer in an agreement that you would come in and annex at the time the city could annex you. So that's the 163 rule. So annexation per statute says you have to be compact and contiguous. So in the old days, we would bring the water and sewer out to you and say, basically, when you're compact and contiguous, you then have to petition for annex in exchange for our water sewer services.
Yes.
The ISBA now kind of replaces that system where it says we will provide you or you will annex. So using the utilities as a carrot to annexation, I don't think really exists these days because we have the ISBA.
I have a question. Is this the last area of the ISBA?
As far south as
It's as far
far
south
south
as
as
it
you can.
goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my next question is, Dan, could you explain the Royal Commerce Drive close? Am I reading that right on 6-3?
No, ma'am, we're not closing.
No, and it says Royal Commerce Drive close up.
I'm not sure where you're
Okay,
reading
that's
that.
that's what I was trying to figure out on
Where's
6A3.
that written?
It's on it's 6A3,
in the packet.
6B3, I think. It's a zoom in shot, but on the title it says Royal Commerce Drive close up. I'm just curious of
Where do you see that?
what is this? This is what I was questioning. Oh. Maybe I can't see it.
Okay. Yeah, for the audience.
It's a
audience
close
benefit,
up,
that's what she's
not
looking at.
closed up. Thank you.
For the audience benefit, basically it shows this without the road. The road
Yes.
is gone, it's gone.
Thank you.
That's-
I would,
it's actually-
got it. Thank you.
Can I ask one question? Yes, sir. For clarification, did you say these are for sale only, or would they be allowed to rent them?
As a government, we're not allowed to say. you
Okay,
can
I
rent them
misunderstood.
or
I
sell
thought they were
them.
rental or
That's a-
sale. I thought I heard you say sale
I
only.
have no authority as a
Okay.
planning person to tell them they can or can't. The
Okay.
cities and governments can't do that.
No, thank you for the clarification.
I think he was
Just
saying
one
they
thing- I
were
did have a
separate
question.
parcels though, so they could be sold separately. So they're, separate
Somewhere in a
parcel.
packet, in the PUD, it said a 55 plus.
At one point, I
mean,
think
that's
it
what it
did, and
says in there.
we meant to take that language out, because that's a statement of intent
That's,
in the background. Is that in the background portion?
I have to
I
go
think,
look
I think
for
it's in the background portion of the
It just
PUD.
said, you know-
And that's a statement of intent.
Oh, page
and it's-
349, I wrote it down.
Yeah, okay.
I can go find that.
Because that was supposed to come out. If it didn't, I apologize, but, yeah, we can't tell them 55 plus or not.
Would you guys be open to having the developer do his presentation?
It's fine with me.
All right. Sir?
All right, thank you. Good evening, my name is Tom Daly. I'm with Daly Design Group, 913 North Pennsylvania Avenue, Winter Park, Florida. We're here on behalf of GPK Real Estate Development. They are the owners of this property. Will my clicker work, or do I? All right, next slide, please. Like Dan said, you know, we have a 7.5 acre site. We're requesting to be annexed into the city. We're requesting to amend the future land use to be consistent with the city, and then to also amend the zoning from Lake County commercial to the City of Leesburg PUD. Next. Just a broader picture of this. You can see that dashed line that runs around there. That is your ISBA, okay? In response, I think Commissioner Barry had that question. This is sitting down there, the road that is up in the over right-hand corner. That's the Turnpike, and then US 27 kind of runs down. And just off the screen is the intersection of Highway 19 and the Turnpike, back in that area. Can you go to the next slide, please? This has a long history. This property was originally approved along with the Royal Highlands development as a development of regional impact, which used to be these very large-scale projects that required much off-site considerations. This was 1994 when this was approved. The master plan was amended back in 2005. When it was amended, the commercial property, and I'll show you an exhibit in a second, but the commercial property was actually relocated to a different portion of the site. It was originally right at the corner of Monarch Boulevard and 27, where the traffic light is. But at that time in 2005, the master developer deeded the property to the HOA for the purposes of the softball field that they have there now and pickleball courts. The commercial then was moved south to the site that we're talking about now. There was also a number of agreements that were recorded and agreed to with regards to the access. As I think Dan said, all of these Monarch and Royal Commerce are private roads, and the access agreements are in place for the benefit of this particular 7.5 acre property. So this was all done back in 20 years ago, or less than 20 years ago. And then the pickleball was obviously deeded another deed, and then it was purchased in 2023 by my client, GPK Development. Can we slide up to the next one, please? Just to give you Royal Highlands is a very big community, 1,500 homes. There's a provision for allowing 300 RV storage, and then originally it was 5,000 square feet. And if you look at this diagram, the commercial is at the intersection. This is the original 94 approval, was originally up there at the intersection of Monarch and 27. The area that's in purple, what we call the site, that was actually residential at the time, back in 1994 with the original DRI state and county approvals. And we go to the next one. This is in 2005, so this is 20 years ago, or 2005, 20 years ago. This is when the commercial was shifted from that intersection down to the property that we're talking about here, the 7.5 acres. And through that process, it was approved for 49,500 square feet of retail. The former retail was converted to recreation for the Royal Highlands HOA. If we can go to the next one, please. This is the field, or this is the property. It encumbers the frontage that goes all the way along 27. There is an existing pond that is located adjacent to some existing family homes in Royal Highlands. There's a berm that was installed I can't find when, but the trees are huge on it, so it had to be at least 20 years or so ago as the master developer put that berm in place to buffer the community from the commercial. And that's, and so that provided the physical separation between the two of them. Fairly cleared site. There was a few trees out there that are showing on this. We went out and our client had an arborist go out, take a look. Property had not been, the trees had not been maintained for years. So they went in, trimmed up, they removed some dead trees, and identified trees that were valuable to save. We can go to the next slide, please. This is an example of the 49,500 square feet of commercial. You can see that by doing that commercial there, and this probably isn't show as much parking as that may be required, but just the depth of commercial, a strip center, as we're all familiar with, would require encroachment into that berm, would require a readjustment of the existing retention pond that folks live on right now. Again, this is all within our property, but the commercial itself would require a lot of redoing of the property itself. And but that's just an example of what that 49,500 square feet would entail. As I think, I can't remember if Dan or somebody else on the commission, we had our traffic engineer, excuse me, evaluate the difference between the townhomes we're proposing and that. And obviously the traffic is 5-6 times more at least on a daily basis, not on a peak hour, which is a lot of times the way that traffic's evaluated in commercial, than the 48 townhomes. And so, anyways, can we go to the next slide, please? This is just a kind of in context. You can see that we have Royal Commerce Drive, we have Monarch, and then the big green space that's kind of around that loop of Royal Commerce is the existing softball courts. There's the pickleball courts, and then there's a vacant piece of property that's still owned by the homeowners association right there at the intersection. Now, as part of all of this, because as things 20 years go by, there are some improvements that the HOA has installed that kind of creep into the property that we're talking about. There's some signage and some, I'll call it hardscape elements at the intersection of Royal Commerce and 27. There's a screen wall that was constructed that kind of pushes into the property a little bit. We have been in discussions with the Royal Highlands board about keeping all of that in place. We've been in contact with them about the existing retention pond, maintenance agreements. The agreements that were in place back in 2005, they were all between the developer and kind of the developer himself, because he was still the master developer of the HOA. So we're working real hard with the board to kind of provide a little more specificity about drainage easements, maintenance responsibilities and all that. If this group recommends approval for it, then we're going to go full board into discussing all of the minutia, but minutia is important to ensure that we're protecting everybody around the property. But this is just an example. One thing you can't really see very clearly, but if you go from the intersection of Monarch down that frontage to that loop road, there's a turn lane there that was installed by DOT. Now, I don't know when. Okay, I didn't have a chance to research, but that turn lane, which is a pull-off lane, they call it a deceleration lane, excuse me, is about 400 feet long. Obviously was put in for a commercial development. That's 20 cars that can get off the road and make a right-hand turn into Royal Commerce to access this commercial site. So obviously there was a lot of planning that went in place when this property was being master planned and permitted. Again, I don't know if the master developer constructed it or whether they paid into the DOT to do it, but it's there. It exists. And like I said, turn lanes that are 400 feet long definitely anticipate a lot of cars going to be going in there and moving around. So if you can go to the next slide, please. This is the site. Like I said, it's fairly cleared. There's a handful of trees. If you look at the back horizon there, that's that landscape berm. And you can see all those mature trees there, that is what's on the landscape berm today. Other than that, the site's been cleared, been mowed and maintained for a number of years. If you can go to the next slide, please. This is looking at it from Royal Highlands' perspective. You can see that it's kind of a grainy picture, but you can definitely see that the vegetation on this berm that we're agreeing to maintain is pretty significant. It acts as a perfect buffer between this property and the single-family homes adjacent to it. If you can go to the next one, please. And this is our proposal. It's very straightforward. 49 townhomes. You can see that the existing berm will stay in its location and will remain heavily vegetated. It's basically just one cul-de-sac that comes down to serve this community. 48 townhomes is not, a significant amount of cars and traffic coming in and out. There is a small recreation area that we're proposing to have a pickleball court, dog park, things that would better suit the residents of this community. And like Dan pointed out, we are requesting a maximum of 48 townhomes. I believe that the comprehensive plan that we're looking at, designation goes up to 8, but we've capped it at below 7 for the total number of units. I think Commissioner Burr or somebody had asked a question about the character of the residents. Our goal has always been to provide for a 55 and up and to provide them as rental units. And the reason that the market that we're considering, and we're doing market studies on it right now, is that when folks move from anywhere in the country down here to Leesburg looking for a house in, the Villages or anywhere, there's a real lack of places to stay while you're looking or while your house is getting built. And so part of what we see as this demographic going in here would be for that. You come down, you got to sell your house first before when you come down here. There's a time frame that goes through that. We're saying that the minimum rental period would be 1 year for any of these units, but that's basically the program. We have a mixture of resident parking and visitor parking, which is always important. I think a total of 78 total spaces for the 48 townhomes. And then if we can go to that next slide, please. That's the architecture. This is not your cookie cutter national home builder style. Got metal roofs. You can see the architecture that they're proposing. GPK hired a Winter Park architect, very high-end Winter Park architect to develop the plans for here. I think Dan said that 1,100 square feet, and I can't remember the maximum square feet, but you can see we got everything. Everybody's got a garage, two car garage on the ends, 1 car garage in the middle. This is a typical 6-unit building, but much more than what you might normally see. This is not a starter home market. This is definitely something above all of that. And so we have, like I said, we have met with the board early on when we were considering making this application, which is back March, April. We met with the board again as we started moving through the process. And then we had a community meeting about 3 weeks ago. And that community meeting was well attended. And we explained exactly the same thing that we're explaining to you tonight. Our program hasn't changed. We've been very forthright and open. The concerns, and I'm not going to put concerns into people's mouths, but in general, it was, like you said, it was traffic. There was concerns about security, meaning the rent, right now, they live in a gated community. We're not part of that gated community. We're not part of their recreation areas. We could, residents that live here, they could get a membership at the golf club. We were approached by the folks that run the golf club about that. But, you know, we've agreed to, along that berm, in gaps at the ends of that berm, to put some kind of fencing or physical barrier so that there's not, I hate to say commingling because we're all people, but, you know, to provide that level of assurance to the folks that live in Royal Highlands that we actually have a physical barrier between them and this community. So anyways, you know, I'm here to ask for your support. Like I said, and I think Dan even reiterated it, the impact of 49,500 square feet of commercial is much greater than what you're looking at here. I realize that, you know, we've heard some folks at the community meeting that said they wanted the commercial versus this, but I think, you know, I think this is a better fit when it comes down to compatibility with the original goals of the PUD and where everything sits now 30 years later. So I'm here to answer any questions, and of course I'd like to have an opportunity to respond to any comments that the community may have.
Thank you. Any questions for the developer from the commission?
Just two quick ones. I was trying to find it in the PUD, but I'll just ask. You said 78 parking spaces. I assume that's on top of the garage space.
No, that's including the garage.
Okay.
So for example,
But I thought I heard 2 per unit. That would be 96.
That's 1.62 parking spots per spot
Okay.
per home.
yeah, we have both garage, driveway, and then we have
Okay.
parking spaces in between the units for visitor parking, additional visitor parking. But again, that'll all be part of the site plan process. I'm just telling you that's our goal. That's where we're at. We still need to do our civil engineering design on it.
Okay. I would think the state would push you to that lighted intersection, but I guess are they going to mandate that? Not that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I guess I was trying to learn something there. Okay.
No.
That's all I have. Thank you.
I'd just like to go back, you know, in the PUD, what it says is it's consisting of a maximum 48 units, single-family residential units, which may be a 55 plus. So that's just a maybe, maybe not kind of thing.
If the audience would remain quiet, the commission is discussing. I know. Thank you. Any other commission comments before we open up to public comments? All right, we'll open it for public comments. If you would, please form a line at the podium. You have to come up to the podium. Please state your name and address for the record. You do have 3 minutes, and we have a clock here that will help you with your time. And again, please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
I'm Mary Hitchcock. I live at 6320 Berkshire Pass, within 200 feet of this zone, Leesburg. I've lived there 21 years. Please don't ignore the fact that this site is in the area that has always been Royal Highlands future development expansion, okay? We've always counted on it as being a service area to our community. It was deliberately not residential. Commerce Drive was built 29 years ago and is owned by Royal Highlands. Access was granted to this lot in 2009 in anticipation of future light commercial traffic that was going to serve our development. If the zoning changes, that will cause the access agreement to be revisited. North and south portion of Commerce Drive might even be closed for the safety of our residents, requiring site access to Highway 27 only. This is because we have a pickleball court as well as a softball field there. People go, mostly our traffic is not by car, but by golf cart and scooter to see pickleball or whatever. Car traffic is going to be a problem. The development at the current zoning is going to eliminate hundreds of daily trips to Leesburg or Claremont on Highway 27 and increase the safety both there and on the Highway 27. Because if we have light commercial there, we won't have to go 8 or 10 miles in either direction to the beauty parlor, to the whatever that we do now. maybe even we would get a pet service there. The city has the ability to service this site only because Royal Highlands built the plant. And we gave it to the city in exchange for maintenance many years ago. Hundreds of residential units have already been approved or are under construction on parcels within a mile of this site already. You've already done that, so more aren't needed. The residential traffic from this development will require some kind of improvements on commercial Commerce Drive if you are to allow it. If we don't, because we'll need a golf cart lane or something for those scooters and golf carts to go back and forth. And it would be a terrible burden on the residents who are all retired of Royal Highlands if they had to improve this road. I think the project is inconsistent not only with the character of Royal Highlands community, but with what we have all counted on for maybe 20 years or more since we moved there. We knew what was going to be there. You like it. I mean, I would have been happier if it had already been in existence, but it wasn't, and we've been looking forward to it for a long time. And right now is the time when people are coming and wanting to provide those services nearest. Soon we will get what we want if this goes away. So building land in Royal Highlands in the Lake County is a scarce resource, and you must choose to use it wisely. Please respect our future development area and deny this annexation and zoning request. And thank you very much.
Ms. Hitchcock, I have a question for you, Ms. Hitchcock.
Yes.
So you would prefer to see it commercial versus?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
We had counted on, a bank actually owned that site on the corner before we bought it, of Monarch Drive. United Southern owned that site.
Thank you.
And when I moved there, United had that. They also have our ATM inside our community.
You're good.
So,
I was just curious if you would rather see it commercial versus residential.
yeah, definitely.
All right, thank you.
Hello. Debbie Oranchuk, 47, can I put this down? Short people. 4738 Glencoe Street. My concern is in relation to the two empty lots which connect to Royal Highlands. I don't have a clicker, but I can show you the property afterwards if you'd like. This property is mainly cut off by a berm, which separates Royal Highland from the proposed new townhomes. But there's a problem for both us and the builder. The problem this berm creates for the builder is it prevents them from putting any large building on the two lots, which are basically in Royal Highlands. The reason that they can't build there is because they'd have to take the berm down to get in heavy equipment, or they'd have to go across Royal Highlands property to get any equipment in there to build anything on those two lots. For that reason, there's been a discussion that the builder would deem those lots as green space and possibly offer them to Royal Highlands in exchange for our continued maintenance of the pond and the berm. By doing this, the builder would get a nice tax deduction and would not be burdened with maintenance. The problem for Royal Highlands is there's no formal barrier between these two properties. The renters of the new property would have foot access directly into Royal Highlands, and Royal Highlands cannot build a fence, as this gentleman suggested, because the property goes directly onto King Henry Street Drive. Now, according to Leesburg zoning laws, any non-permanent structure could be placed on that green space. That would enable the developer to turn those lots into a gathering spot for his new community if he so chooses. He could have swing sets put in, park benches, picnic tables, any non-permanent structure. Great for them, it's another selling feature for them. But if approved, the city is essentially allowing a new community of 48 townhomes with people of varying ages to meet and party within our community. This would completely change the dynamics of our community. It now becomes a security issue as well as a noise and privacy problem. I respectfully request that the board consider what they would be authorizing if they decide to go forward with the rezoning. Thank you.
Well, thanks for listening to us. As you can see, we're very concerned about it. And we've got it right. I'm Terry Van Winkle, Royal Highlands, 5340 Sir Churchill Drive. There's so many things to talk about here. Tom has changed. If you'd have been at the 3 meetings we've been with him, he's changed what he is saying every time. Number one, that berm doesn't protect anybody from anything. He says it separates you. I've driven my golf cart over that berm. That's what kind of a safety thing you've got there. You need a fence up there. They want us to maintain the overflow pond. That pond right now needs maintenance. It's on their property, but they want us to maintain it or share in it because water runs in it. You got 50,000 square feet of homes and cement. They're gonna flow into that retention pond. It can't handle it. That retention pond is going to need expanded. That is going to be an argument between him and us. And who's gonna pay for it and when is it gonna get done? The other thing about that retention pond is you're gonna have 48 apartments, 90 people over there and a bunch of kids. We have alligators in that pond. They better fence it and they better maintain it. Big safety thing. But let's go back on to traffic. I just listened to one Congress, for Florida Congress. Number one concern of people is traffic. We own the road. They can't get in, they can't get out without using our road and not improving it, number one. All that traffic going south, they can go out. But to go north, they come over onto Monarch Boulevard and go to the light, which you know is there. We already have lines in front of that. Today we had lines in front of that with us using it and all the contractors and delivery people. Now you want to add 96 people using that road too. We're going to play hell getting in and out of there. You've already got Kalos building right next to us over the chain link fence from us. You've got, what is the name of the, on the other side of the turnpike, they also own that. 300 apartments going in over there and a gas station. We are not going to be able to get out of Royal Highlands. We're already in line. So you really need to consider the traffic. It's going to be a big, big problem. The other thing I had a concern about, I hope somebody talked to DOT. If they want to expand 27, which they need to do, this is going to block the expansion of 27 to the west. Everything would have to go to the east. Something else that they need to consider. There's so many problems with this that needs a whole lot more discussion or something changed. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi there. I'm Catherine Beebe. I live at 21514 King Henry Avenue in Leesburg, Florida, Royal Highlands. I have been an owner in Royal Highlands since November of 1995 and a resident since 1999. Thank you for taking the time this afternoon to hear my objections to rezoning and annexing to Leesburg the 7.53 acres that is contiguous to Royal Highlands. First, the parcel has been zoned commercial by Lake County since Pringle Communities developed Royal Highlands in 1994. Second, PKG Developers wants to put 48 townhomes on only the usable 5 acres. That becomes 9.6 townhomes per acre. And on that same 5 acres, they plan a pickleball court and a dog park. The pond, berm, and property on the other side of the berm, which is about 2.5 acres, would not be built on. At a Royal Highlands meeting on August 19th, the audience was told that it would be rentals of 1+ years. At the commission meeting on August 21st, you were told that it would be 6-month rentals. First, they said it would be a 55+ community at our meeting, and then that was changed. They seem to change directions to whatever audience they are talking to. Third, there are many developers building large subdivisions just north of Royal Highlands. The approval of Dilly Lake, 304 multifamily units, development near Lake Emergency Center of several hundred homes. These two subdivisions, just a short 2 miles north of Royal Highlands, would house over 600 families and over 600 vehicles, which would further impact the traffic on Highway 27, an already overcrowded stretch of road because of all the truck traffic trying to get onto the northbound entrance to the turnpike. Fourth, The PKG plan is to use Royal Highlands Commerce Drive for ingress and egress to their planned development. The agreement, not a contract, to use Royal Highlands Private Road was for any commercial development of the 7.5 acres, not for residential. Finally, I trust that you will evaluate all the data that's been provided and recommend that this property continue to be zoned for commercial use. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Beebe, just for clarification, the prior meeting you spoke about was the planning and zoning. It wasn't this commission.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
Planning
Just for
and zoning.
clarification. Thank you.
That's where he spoke to that.
You're fine. Thank you. Just
Thank
for
you.
clarification. Yes, sir.
My name is Richard Ellick. I live at 20805 Queen Alexandra Drive. I've been a resident there for 19 years. A little background, I sold real estate for almost 18 years. And when he talks about commercial property and the people, if you go to any small commercial development, if you get 10, 15 cars in there a day, you got a lot. He's making it sound like you're going to get hundreds of cars in there. Not so. And then about our road, Commerce Drive, go there and spend a day and see how many Royal Highlands cars actually ride down it. It's few and far between. Not what he's saying 1,500 people are going to be riding down that road. They don't use that road. They use it for pickleball and they use it for softball. That's it. And that's when those roads are used. And most of the time, they're used with golf carts. And now they're going to have 96 cars running up and down that road because that's the only way they can get in there. It's not very feasible. Safety for the people living in those front homes, with the traffic moving in there the way it is, it's not going to be safe for senior citizens when anybody can walk over that berm. It will not be safe. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for hearing me.
Okay, thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak. My name is Michael DeLay. I live in Royal Highlands. I've been there for 24 years. My address is 4945 St. Andrew's Arc. You're hearing all the issues that we have, and I think you can tell by the turnout that, we're not for this type of a development, but I think most of us would accept a commercial development, but not a residential, because from what I'm understanding is there will be no property management on that property. Who knows, with all the Amazon and places that have built down there, there's a lot of people that are working down there. And these are younger people, and it's going to affect our property values, it's going to affect our living standards, like our quietness and all that, especially the people that are near that community. So, we ask you, I think a good compromise would be to go ahead with the commercial, but not the residential. Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name's Debbie Duane. I live at 20720 Prince Rainier Place. Thank you for letting us have the time to speak to you. I prayerfully wish you consider denying this request for zoning. Everybody's right. He's changed his tune so many times. We don't know what's going to be built there. They might end up being used for verbos. Who knows? As far as this joint access agreement, a couple of us in our community have read this. It was meant for residential only. Commercial only. And we are going to do some more research on it, but I don't think he can use Commerce Boulevard according to this easement agreement. So he'd have to get a road somewhere else, and I don't think anybody else is going to give it to him. I just really wish you'd deny this project. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Seeing none, we're going to close the public comment section, and we will go back to the developer for his rebuttal or any final comments.
Thank you. I'll just be brief. It does seem like some folks would prefer commercial. I think what a lot of folks don't understand is you can't pick the kind of restaurant that's going to go in. You can't pick the pizza place. When you have commercial, Dan was very good about stating, it's all those commercial uses, those C1 uses. And so any promise to be a support commercial site for this, for the Royal Highlands, that just doesn't exist, relative, I like Papa John's, you like Pizza Hut, right? You can't pick. So the commercial, was a component of the 1994 approvals, but certainly not something where it was designed to serve just the Royal Highlands, because as you know, a commercial site needs a lot of traffic and a lot of visibility. So, what we're seeing out there now is that, like I think someone said, there's a lot of commercial coming on out there, from other developments in the Groveland JPA or ISBA. And so there are going to be commercial opportunities. We just don't think that this is the appropriate site for it. Just a couple other things. We believe that the easement that provides us access is solid, legally solid to both Monarch and to Royal Commerce. We've had our attorneys review it. It was done with both the HOA and that granting those physical rights. It also granted utility agreements or utility access so that we can access the city utilities that are built within that area. So I completely disagree that we don't have rights to access over those two roads. I wouldn't be standing here if I thought that we could or could not. The security issues and things like that, for sure, and, we can make statements here. This is the PUD, right? And so if you wanted to add any conditions that would say that, open areas within the, within the common property line need to be fenced, that's perfectly something that's within the purview of the city council, because it's a PUD and we have specific performance requirements within there. So the part of the PUD process allows that to happen. I don't know who's driving golf carts over it. I don't know, but certainly everything I've seen out there, that berm that you're looking at right there, that's pretty heavily vegetated. And I certainly don't think that we would, want to have that, nor would we want anybody that lived in the townhome community to be driving over it across that. It's a pretty steep berm. Regarding what I've said and what I'm saying to you tonight, I apologize if there was any misunderstandings, but I've been saying the same thing since we first had our community meeting, since we've met with the board. We're doing a townhome community. We're wanting the ability to do a 55 and up if that's allowed, and that's why it says maybe in the ordinance, so that it gives us the opportunity to do that. But I haven't changed my story, relative to what we're doing, how we're approaching it, and what representations we've made to this group and to their board and to your staff. Even if I was, you have a development agreement in your PUD that lays out exactly what we're required to do, what we can't do and what we can do. And so the surety, take me out of it, is in that document. And that's what the thing with the PUD. The C1 that we currently have in the county, anything goes as long as you meet that C1 code. We're doing a PUD specifically so the conditions and the restrictions on the uses of the land is codified in this approval. And so with that, if there's any further questions that the board may have, I'm happy to answer them. I'd seek your support to annex the property. We're in the ISBA. We're using your utilities. Because of that annexation, then we are obligated to do the comprehensive plan and the zoning to be consistent with your code. Again, we're going for a future land use that allows for up to 8 homes per acre. We've agreed to less than 7. And I think in your development agreement here, it says 6.54 or something like that. So we've already agreed to reduce the amount of residential density on the site. The other last thing I want to bring up is that grassed area there. That's, I think, one of the folks was saying, what about that? They can build something on it. They can, improve it. This is the other side of the berm you're standing on. That house right there is within the Royal Highlands community. We've presented to the board, we've presented to this group that we plan to leave it as open space, and we plan not to have access to it. Again, your PUD document can state that it will be open space, that it will be unimproved, that it will not allow for pedestrian access from this community. These are things that can be incorporated directly into the document that's sitting in front of you. That grass there, they've been mowing that for 20 years. The pond that's there, they've been mowing it for that many years. It's right around the corner from that house. There's irrigation systems that the HOA has installed. We don't want to mess with their stuff. And we're agreeable to keep everything behind that berm and to secure for the access between the two properties. So with that, I'd ask for your support to move this forward to the second reading and for the annexation, comp plan, and rezoning.
Thank you. Any questions for the developer? I had a couple questions for Dan. Dan, if this does get approved, some things I would like to see.
Okay.
The east border along 27, can we put some kind of small berm with some kind of fencing on there, just so there's some kind of separation from the front door and the road? And then on the west side along Royal Highlands, I'll leave this up to maybe the HOA and you guys to discuss, but some kind of, if they're worried about security, some kind of decorative fencing that's in the PUD along the property, maybe excluding the water feature area. And then lastly, I know our new new ponds, we require this, but since this is coming, if it comes in, I would like to see that pond fall within our aerator or the fountain feature as well. So those are some of the things I would like to see. Anything else for Dan?
Just for clarification, I can't see, the wall there looks like it ends. Is that a fair statement? I'm trying to get my bearings here. I see.
It's right here.
Okay.
Like behind the sign.
Go back to the side.
And I hear the residents' complaints about, security or talking about fencing, but if I go back to the site plan, it looks like you're expanding the retention. It almost encompasses the whole back of the property. Right there.
That one.
Okay,
That's commercial.
okay.
That's commercial.
Okay, my bad. Okay, I ran the two together.
So
Okay.
the commercial would encroach onto that green space that we're talking about.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Royal Highlands is using this retention pond as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I asked earlier, but I guess I'm still confused on roads. If you're going to go northbound, you're going to have a shared access you're going to have an access agreement to go to the light to turn. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
So speaking with Mike on that, we've heard two different things. They have access, they don't have access. Do we know, where does
There's a
our
disagreement.
approval of this is kind of contingent on having access?
We will have a full answer on that at the next October
Yeah, that
13
should-
meeting.
I mean, before anything, that just
Short
seems-
answer is staff's not prepared to answer the access question. This evening, council has heard both sides of the story. You've heard from the residents that says they don't have access,
Right.
and you've heard from the developer that says they do.
Yes. Right.
The appraiser site clearly shows that that is a private road, so we need to dig into was it approved by a PUD in the county back in the
Yes,
day?
it was approved by a
So we-
PUD, and there is
so
an
we'll dig
agreement,
in-
so.
Yeah, so we'll dig into the county PUD.
but definitely
and
need
we'll
that
dig
information.
into the access.
We will have that.
And we'll get our own legal opinion from our
Exactly.
beloved Mr. Watson when we get that. And we'll have an answer for you when this comes back. And and I don't mean to belabor the point. I'm sure the mayor will want you guys to know this as well. But again, this is first reading.
Right.
So on all these type items, they lay over. I think this one is
October
due to come
13th.
back October 13th. So we'll get you a road opinion from staff, and we'll
Yes.
get that out via email prior to the 13th.
Oh, yeah.
That
Because
would be-
obviously, I think we do have conflicting
Yes.
public comment on that.
We do.
Any other commission comments? All right, this item will lay over till October 13th. We'll move along to non-routine items. We have none. Informational reports, we have none. City attorney items.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've got one thing. We've been working, I think as we had mentioned a little while back.
I would ask that the audience remain quiet, please. We're still in session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Venice at Lake Harris had commenced that special magistrate process in regards to the denial of their annexation. So I've been communicating with the attorney for the developer there. We've been trying to get our special magistrate set. We finally have settled on somebody. He's out of the country right now, last week and this week. So we anticipate him being back Monday of next week and trying to get signed up and moving forward with that. So the trouble, or not really trouble, but the one issue that we've kind of run into is that there's some statutory timeframes as far as when he's supposed to receive all of the information, when he's supposed to schedule a hearing. We're not able to meet those timeframes because just sort of logistically trying to get him into the fold here. And so really my request is essentially approval of moving forward. His name is Ed Pantaleone. He's in Windermere, well-versed in this type of stuff. I don't know him personally. He was recommended by the other attorney, but I've looked into him, and he seems like he's fine. The rates, I think $3.25 an hour is very reasonable, all things considered, particularly out of Windermere. You might expect to see higher numbers. So I think all things considered, he seems like somebody who's very well versed in this area of the law. The rate, I understand, is a little bit shocking, but in terms of attorney's fee rates, it's not crazy, particularly in areas like this that are a little bit complicated to try and navigate. So, all of that said, I think he's probably a pretty good one that we've honed in on, but we need a little bit of flexibility on some of the time frames. So the request is to allow me to sign up on the agreement to move forward with him as the special magistrate, and also for a waiver of those time frames as far as getting our response to the special magistrate and then getting hearings scheduled and mediation scheduled once we get everything to the special magistrate.
Which development is this? I think I know which one it is. I want to be sure I'm clear.
Corey Island.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I thought. Just want to be sure. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
How's the commission feel?
I'm good with that.
Okay. All right.
So everybody's good with that? All right, well, I'll get it signed up, and we'll get our response over. I'll get copies out to all of you all so that you'll see that, and we'll start working on scheduling as we move forward with that. All right.
Thank you, Grant.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That's all I've got this evening.
Thank you, sir. City manager items.
So we're officially in the home stretch of the fiscal year 26 budget process. So remember, Thursday at 5 p.m. here in City Hall, we start our first of our budget and millage rate resolution public hearings. So 5 p.m. sharp, everybody, on Thursday. And we start with, I believe, the Carver Heights CRA.
Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Berry?
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Peterson?
Al, you said 5 or 5:30?
5.
5 p.m.
5:01.
That's the first one.
You get
And
an,
then
ex- you
5:10,
get an
5:20,
extra minute.
5:30.
You get an extra minute.
I have one other thing, and I'm not going to make a motion tonight. This is just to kind of get the pulse of the commission. This has been on my to-do list for a couple months, but I would like to propose to the commission that we consider going to a special magistrate process for planning and zoning. And let me clarify that. It is kind of a wave right now, but basically a special magistrate would be an attorney who would replace the P&Z commission. So, I think you're adding a legal layer to the process, which I think there's value there. The process is identical. I mean, so instead of a P&Z commission sitting up here at this table, the meeting will be run by an attorney. Staff would be present, but the city attorney, not city attorney, the special magistrate would run the meeting. I have been before special magistrate in Sumter County. I like the process. Wildwood has gone to a special magistrate. Fruitland Park just approved going to a special magistrate, and maybe you can help me out, Grant. There's a few others, but there is a wave of activity.
I, at one time, was Wildwood special magistrate.
Oh, really?
So I
Okay.
do, yeah, I am
Maybe you can help
familiar.
me out here. I think it's the way of the future, and I look at it as a legal layer compared to what we currently have. And no disrespect to the current P&Z Commission. I know it's been around a long time, and I'm going to ruffle a few feathers, but things, times are changing. I think I covered all my notes.
But yeah, just on that, if any of you have any questions about that process or you want to talk more about it, I do have.
Would we need an ordinance type of process to amend that?
Probably so. I'd
So-
look at the code, but that would be my guess. Because right now, we've got a planning and zoning board that's established by code, so we'd need to change that.
Okay, so we'll do some staff report on that, if you
Okay,
would.
that's
Let
fine.
it- let it- So obviously that request brings up a bunch of questions. So let us put together a staff report and kind of will give you the pluses and minuses of going to special magistrate, and we'll roll out and give you some procedural stuff on how potentially you do get there. Maybe if it's not the next meeting, it would be first October meeting.
That's fine.
Within a month or so, give us some time to do some homework, but.
Yeah, I just wanted to
we'll
get it
a report back
out
to
here
you.
for discussion and let the commission know that I'd like to see it on the agenda, so that's perfect.
Okay.
Just to comment on.
Okay, go ahead.
On Mike, I have had members of the community talk to me about moving to a magistrate form also. So it's not just Mike's here. It's
Yeah,
my hearing too.
and I'm far from an expert on it, but it's very, very similar process. It actually takes a lot of pressure off the staff, in my opinion.
It's essentially the same process. It's just one person that's ultimately making the decision versus the board.
Right, who is a lawyer, who.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
To sort through there and all of that. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so,
That's right.
I have
That's all.
one question. What is the benefit from that? Because I always thought the planning and zoning was to bring in historical people who have lived in the area for significant years, who could actually tell history of what's going on in the area, give a little insert of far as what was there before. I mean, you got to consider all of that, and I do know that. I know there's a change of times. I know that there is a goal to move the process along, I would say. But you do have to consider people who are in the community who value where they are and can share their ideas and
And
can
they can
share some of
still-
the areas.
They can still
I didn't
participate
finish.
in the meeting.
I didn't finish.
My pitch on this
I
is,
didn't finish.
oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just saying, I want to add to say that the importance of the planning and zoning, I always thought, was to be able to have input from community members. And with an attorney, that would be determined by whom to bring in an attorney. I'm just questioning, throwing it out there.
It's a great comment question. Al and city attorney can help me out anytime, but my simple view is, okay, I already said it once, I've been on the commission 6.5 years. I've heard a lot of commissioners vent frustration about, the votes. We contradict the P&Z Commission all the time. I mean, I'm looking at you, Grant. I think if special magistrate votes it down, I guess we could still approve, but if they vote it down, it's really over more of a legal
I
argument
think-
versus the emotions we see at P&Z Commission.
Yeah, I think that with a lawyer acting as the special magistrate, they're obviously going to take a more legal view of things as opposed to, maybe more practical issues. I think they certainly can see those too, but I think they're going to be particularly concerned about some of the more legal issues and look at those and, sort of use their field of knowledge and expertise to kind of navigate whatever issues come up in that arena. I think I don't want to get too deep into the discussion. I think there's pros and sides on both sides of that. But like I said, I'm happy to go over my experiences with any of you and discuss that in greater detail. Yeah.
That's all I'm looking for. Thank you. Sorry to talk over you.
Commissioner Berry.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mayor Reisman.
A couple things. I attended the opening night of the Melon Patch's new play at Nana Does Vegas. They have, of their 8 shows, I think 4 or 5 of them are already sold out. It was packed that night. It was hilarious. So if you haven't gone, I would encourage you to do that. This Friday is Discover Leesburg downtown, as well as a new art reception at the Art Center. And then I don't know if any of you guys are going to the Leesburg Chambers event, the Swashbucklers and Sirens Soiree. And then on the September 20th, the City Beautification Board, along with our Public Works, is teaming up with Keep Lake Beautiful for a Lake County waterways cleanup. So we'll be out at Venetian Gardens and Ski Beach. Leesburg Recreation is providing kayaks and canoes for anyone who wants to clean up from the water side, and then you can also clean up from the land side. So hopefully everyone can come out to that. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.